This report is sponsored by the West Automotive Group. Time is money, and there's no good time for your vehicle to break down. Keep your car and schedule running smoothly with the West Automotive Group. For the highest quality of customer service and vehicle repair, visit westautomotivegroup.com to book your appointment today. We're going to start off with the Padres, who took 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals this weekend. They are staying within 3 games of the Dodgers in the National League West. Yesterday, Padres offense powered them to a 7-3 win with homers from Jake Cronenworth and new Padre Ramon Laureano. Padres will start a 3-game series in Arizona tomorrow night against the D-backs. The men's and women's NCAA basketball tournaments will not be expanding beyond 68 teams this season, but future growth remains on the radar. NCAA Senior Vice President of Basketball Dan Gavitt announced that earlier today, and Brown's rookie quarterback in a stunning move. Shedeur Sanders says he does not want his dad coming around Cleveland right now, as he doesn't want any distractions in his first year. Good move by Shedeur. This update was presented by the West Automotive Group. Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Happy Monday to you all. It's Ben Fletcher. It's Big Marsh on the mic today. Sammy Long off for a couple days, taking a little vacation. I don't know anybody who takes as much vacation as Sammy Long does, but you know, at least he's just getting started in his career. Now's the time to do it. It is the Fletch Zone. We will be with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. Plenty to react to, including already making fun of me for butchering the first update. Look, I haven't done those in a few years. I'm sorry. Padres get their series started with Arizona tonight, not tomorrow night. And I think I read the commercial part where the beginning was supposed to go, and I read the middle part where the end was supposed to go. But who cares? We're here. It's a Monday. I'm exhausted after a weekend of insane Fletcher home family life that got finished up yesterday. But Big Marsh is here. Big Marsh, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's another great day to have a great day in America's finest city.
It's good to have you here, man. I'll be honest. Sammy, every once in a while, he gets all moody. Like if something negative about Patrick Mahomes comes out, Big Marsh is just this beacon of positivity. And I'm happy to have you. We're going to have some fun over the next couple of hours talking about the new look Padres, who new guys making an impact right away. They do take 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals. Should have been a clean sweep. Saturday night, bullpen gives up the game. Randy Vasquez wasn't great, which may have been Randy Vasquez's last start of the season. I think if things go well for the Padres, it means Randy Vasquez probably doesn't make another start this year, which part of me is kind of sad. I like the insane roller coaster that is every single Randy Vasquez start. But part of me also understands the Padres pitching staff is at a place right now where if everyone stays healthy, you might not see Randy Vasquez make another start all year long. And that's probably a good thing for the fortune of the team. I thought Dylan Cease was special yesterday, man. He takes his bruises in the first inning, throws a ton of pitches, and then comes out and is just dominant. And Schultz said after the game, and I agree with him, we got the best version of Dylan Cease after that first inning. And he was fantastic and sort of makes you think, man, it was pretty close for him being that good of a starter somewhere else before the trade deadline in a move I don't know that any of us would have really criticized if they would have moved Dylan Cease. Apparently, Michael King is getting some rehabs going away, and it's looking a little rocky, but hopefully he comes up to the big league soon and is kind of the rounding out of this Padres starting rotation. We got plenty of NFL news we're going to get to today as well. Big Rich Ohrnberger is going to be jumping on the show coming up at 12:30. I got a ton of stuff for Rich because Antonio Gates was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this weekend. Rich Ohrnberger happened to be a teammate of his. So we'll talk some Antonio Gates. We're going to hear from Antonio Gates coming up in just a little bit. Also, Derek Togerson in hour number 2 is going to spend 30 minutes with us. We will talk all things Padres with Togs, and he's actually at SDFC stuff right now. So we'll get into that with him a little bit as well. I did, before we get to the big three, want to just give a shout out to AJ Preller. Words that have very rarely left my mouth over my 6.5 years covering the Padres. But AJ Preller did a hell of a job at this trade deadline. And it's not because Laureano hit a home run yesterday. It's not because all the new pieces coming in. It's because he's only paying these new pieces $1.5 million for the rest of the year. AJ Preller somehow added 6 pieces to this Major League Baseball team, most of whom I think are going to have a pretty positive impact. I think we saw that from Freddie Fermin behind the dish yesterday. Coach Quintera's scouting report was 100% on. The guy is a great defensive catcher. He made Dylan Cease look better at times. And hey, he got a couple RBIs this weekend as well. But I think we're seeing it already have an impact. And the fact that AJ Preller got the Orioles to pay the majority of the contracts for O'Hearn and Laureano and only onloaded $1.5 million for the rest of this season to a team that we knew was not trying to add any money. I don't even know how it's possible that 6 new big leaguers have come to this squad and they've only unloaded $1.5 million. It's kind of mind blowing. So AJ Preller, whatever magic you did, and I understand it took a lot of prospects to make that happen. You were working with handcuffs on and you somehow still got it done. I'm impressed with that. I really am. Big Marsh, what you got?
I know there was a lot of nervousness leading up to the trade deadline.
For sure.
And people were thinking that there's issues with the front office, the family, and I'm just glad that he was sitting there playing chess, not checkers, and pulled the rug and bam, here we go.
It seems like you got a World Series contender in the San Diego Padres, which is all this fan base wants. And by the way, it's exactly what this fan base deserves, who show up every single day at Petco Park. I do want to hear Laureano's first home run as a San Diego Padre. Pretty cool moment yesterday in the 8th inning. Padres holding on to a lead. This extended that lead, but let's hear Don's call for Ramon Laureano's first home run as a San Diego Padre. Well done. Hopefully many more to come from Ramon Laureano on the way for a potential World Series bid here in 2025, which I don't think is overstating anything. I think that's exactly what the Padres and AJ Preller have done. They've put themselves in that position to be taken seriously as World Series contenders. All right, Marsh, this is you, man. Sammy does the big three every single day where he takes us through the top stories in the world of sports. Today, we are relying on Big Marsh on the mic. Go ahead, smash that button, Marsh. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you keep going. See, that's my mess up where we can laugh at me because that was absolutely the right sounder and I thought it was wrong at first. But Marsh, where are we starting with the big three today?
All right, sports fans, big three. First one, Cowboys training camp drama. Michael Parsons stopped wearing his
we
jersey.
Can't hear you too good, so turn down that bed music just a little bit. There you go.
There we go. So Cowboys training camp drama. Michael Parsons stops wearing his jersey and just walking around with a hoodie, and Des Bryant tweeting Jerry Jones to stop mentioning him in his press conferences. What you say?
Cowboys are in a mess right now. So Jerry Jones came out very publicly and said he blames Des Bryant and Jay-Z and Jay-Z's sports agency for why he doesn't like dealing with agents anymore. And it's a rough look for him because Des Bryant immediately goes to Twitter and says, "Hey, Jerry," and I'm paraphrasing this, but says, "Hey, Jerry, I don't think you want to know all the bodies I know that are buried." And saying, "I can basically bury you in about a second." And Des went all caps with his tweet, so he meant business. The Cowboys are in a mess. Jerry Jones is in a mess. If you go to the Twitter thread underneath Des Bryant's post that he made today, it's a bunch of people asking Grok, like the AI from Twitter, why Jerry Jones is ruining the Cowboys. And Grok is going through a history, man, of moves that Jerry Jones have made that have put the Cowboys in the position they're in right now. I'm truly getting to the point where I don't know if they can pay Micah. Like, obviously, Jerry has the money, but I don't know if they can pay Micah, stay within the cap. It's for the capologist to understand there's a real shot Micah Parsons is not playing football in a Dallas Cowboys uniform come week 1, whether it's through holdout or whether it's through trade.
I think they're trading him. I think with his podcast that he does after the games each Sunday and there's all this negative attention right now, I think they're going to cut bait and he's going to get to the AFC. Just depends on which team, in my opinion.
All right, what's next, Marsh?
All right. Our new look Padres took 2 or 3 from St. Louis. How are they looking to you, Fletch?
They look good, man. The Padres were impressive this weekend. Saturday night was a disaster. You need, and it felt like a bit of a playoff atmosphere. Like you don't ever have a safe lead in a playoff game because something can always happen. That's sort of what it felt like on Saturday night, and that worried me. But to bounce back Sunday, to have the offensive explosion you had yesterday, even after struggling the first 2 innings to get guys who were in scoring position in, it's good to see the offense bounce back the way they did. And it's not all just power, obviously. Yesterday was Jake Cronenworth and Ramon Laureano going deep, but they're able to get runs across in a variety of different ways. And like Jake Cronenworth said after the game, they're pretty solid 1 through 9 now. I don't see any weak spots in this lineup, which is something you could not have said before the trade deadline. What you got, Marsh?
I see the chemistry instantly with the team when they, welcome all the new players coming up this weekend. And I think the Padres are going to be in for a big run in the postseason.
It feels good. At least the first look that we got at all these guys definitely feels good. We'll see how they do out in Arizona this week. You got one more for us?
Yes. For WWE fans, Brock Lesnar returns after a few-year hiatus at SummerSlam, immediately starts busting up John Cena. CM Punk wins and then loses right away.
Hey, I'm not a huge WWE guy. I'll be honest. I did not catch any of this live. What I do like is the clips. And we've had Rachel Green on the show before. We'll all stand and salute her every day of the week. But you look at the WWE, what they do so well. I knew about what Marsh was talking about before he walked in this morning with the WWE. I knew that John Cena went over to Tyrese Halliburton and stole his crutch. And I knew that Brock Lesnar made a big reappearance. So WWE, for everything that people say about you, you're the only thing going that's packing 100,000 people into stadiums across the country every place you show up. And their clips are gold. Marsh, you're super into the WWE.
No, not really. Just kind of fair weather. I used to be obviously a Hulkamaniac, the old school WWF. But I saw the clips over the last night, and I thought it was big. Coming in, knowing we were going to talk about in the big three. So
it's weird. Hulk passing away last week, man. That one came out of nowhere and right after Ozzy. And I know a lot of people got mixed feelings about Hulk Hogan. I think he earned that. He absolutely earned that. But it is weird that both those deaths struck
Theo
me.
Huxtable.
And I was too old or too young for pretty much all of them. Like,
I remember all of them. Man.
It's crazy the week that we had 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And just kind of trying to get through it. All right, we're gonna take a quick break here. When we come back, let's get into the Antonio Gates Hall of Fame induction. Some really cool moments. We got some sound from the induction of him and Phillip Rivers. Sort of going back and forth. Some awesome moments out in Canton, Ohio over the weekend. We'll relive some of those and we'll let you know what we're giving away today on the show as well. That's all coming up next here on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. The iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Live performances from Bryan Adams, Mariah Carey, Maroon 5, Sammy Hagar, The Offspring, Tim McGraw, and more. September 19th and 20th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Buy tickets now at AXS.com. Get them now before they sell out. While the world is listening on iHeartRadio, you could be there. 3 chances every weekday for you to win your trip for 2 plus $1,000 in spending cash. Next chance to text and win will happen at 1 o'clock right here on San Diego Sports 760. Get all the info at sportssd.com/festival. On YouTube, couple comments coming in. Robo Rob saying, how about that bullpen? Yeah, Saturday night left a little bit to be desired, but Mason Miller coming out in his 1 appearance. No runs given up. That's the important thing. Gave up a couple hits, but it's good to see the new look bullpen on top of a bullpen that already was really, really good. We're going to talk some Antonio Gates here in a second, but I did want to do a little life thing real quick because my wife and I, we got a dog, little puppy dog. His name's Brock. Yes, it's after Brock Purdy, the 49ers quarterback. But we've never had a camera on him. And my wife bought this thing called a Furbo camera, not an endorsement, just saying like that's what the brand was. And it'll shoot out treats while he's home alone and keep an eye on him. And I never knew how entertaining it could be to just watch your dog while the dog is home alone. But this is the coolest thing ever. Marsh, you got pups?
Oh, well, not anymore, but I grew up with animals. Do you have an option to shoot the treat off yourself from your phone?
You can fling it.
Yeah.
So it's like you're playing Angry Birds almost with a dog treat.
Awesome.
And it's wildly entertaining because you can talk also. You can just say, hey, Brock, what are you doing? And then he'll pop right up. And then you can fling a little treat at him. And it plays music. If he starts crying, if he howls, it sends you an alert. It's the funniest thing ever. I didn't even know this existed until 24 hours ago. And I feel like I've been addicted to it all day long because it is like you're playing a little game on your phone, but it's your dog. All right. Antonio Gates was enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame this past weekend. And by the way, Ben Fletcher, Big Marsh on the mic. We're with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. Big Rich Ohrnberger coming up in about 10 minutes. Talk some NFL with the big fella. But Antonio Gates, obviously the bulk of his career played right here in San Diego. One of the greatest San Diego Chargers ever, was enshrined in the Hall of Fame after a record-setting career. And it was pretty cool seeing him up on that stage. And I feel like a lot of Hall of Fame speeches come off as completely canned. And it's just 25 to 30 minutes of thank yous. And no one's really in on the joke. Well, I'll tell you with Antonio Gates, everyone could just feel the emotion. He was such a genuine dude yesterday. And Sean Merriman in the crowd, Phillip Rivers in the crowd, a bunch of former teammates, high school coaches, NFL coaches. It was cool to see Antonio Gates go in that way. And for me, maybe it's because of my relationship with my mom, but the way he talked about his mom, I thought was the coolest part of the whole thing. And saying, you know what, Mom, you were loving and you sometimes questioned how you were as a mother. But let me tell you, you were the best mom ever. And you still gave me a lot of whoopings, but that's okay because I deserved them. I thought it was the perfect tone to hit. And Antonio Gates did a really great job on Saturday. And the clip we have is him talking about Phillip Rivers. And he actually went through the other quarterbacks. He said, Doug Flutie, thank you for throwing me my first NFL touchdown. Drew Brees, thank you for helping me grow as a player. But then he got to Phillip Rivers, and you could hear the emotion in this man's voice. Let's take a listen, Big Marsh. And the whole time he's talking, it's a split screen between him and Phillip Rivers, and Rivers got a huge ovation. I know we cut it a little short in that sound clip, but Rivers got up, took his cap off, said thank you to everybody. There were Charger fans everywhere. I know a few people from San Diego who went out for this, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not going out. Big Marsh, what do you got on it, Antonio?
Antonio Gates story. So a few years back, obviously when he was still here, he was on 54th and El Cajon. I was getting a tattoo, and across the street was this Jamaican restaurant, and his car all souped up was broke down right across the street. So we went, when I realized, hey, I'm like, hey guys, that's Antonio Gates. Let's go make sure he's good, because it wasn't, it's not a bad area, but it's not super good. But we went over there to make sure he was okay. He said, I'm all right. I'm waiting on my tow truck. And that was it. But he was real cool. Everybody went over there and said what's up to him. And, real good off the field, just real cool dude.
I've only met him once, and it was at Super Bowl Radio Row in Miami. And I can't remember what he was selling. He was doing something with some brand. And Antonio Gates from across the room saw Nick Hardwick, who I was doing the morning show with at that time. And Nick stands up. They both kind of make eye contact. And I swear to God, it was like two teenagers who haven't seen each other in a long time running across the room to go give each other a big bear hug. They talked for 30 minutes. And in that conversation, I talked for 2 seconds with Antonio Gates. And you could tell, one of the nicest guys ever. Great to be around. And we'll get some more information from Rich Ohrnberger, who was in an NFL locker room with him for a few seasons here in San Diego. Just about the person that he was, how deserving he was to be in the Hall of Fame. And I got to tell you, watching yesterday, or 2 days ago, excuse me, I think Phil deserves his own Hall of Fame induction day. I really do. I don't know if it's going to be easy. I don't know if he's going to get in on the first ballot. He probably won't. But that dude seems primed for one of those days himself. And it's going to have more people there, more tears, because Philip can't talk without crying. I think he deserves it. I really do.
Well, if they're saying Eli Manning may not get in his first or second time,
it's going to be tough.
If Phillip Rivers doesn't have any rings, how is Eli Manning still having trouble probably getting in?
Because what's bizarre is Phillip Rivers was a better quarterback than Eli Manning. And everyone could tell that by watching them play. But Eli had 2 stretches where he was the best quarterback in the world.
And it's all about the rings.
That's all it takes. I don't know if that's fair. I don't think it is. No. I think if Phillip Rivers was in Eli Manning's situation with those Giants teams, I think he would have had as much, if not more success, especially during the regular season where Eli Manning was just a guy. He was pretty average, but it sucks. I don't think it's going to happen. Definitely not in the first time around. But watching that over the weekend, you feel like someone else should be up on that stage too. And hopefully he gets there one day, man, because when you talk about one of the coolest days, it'll be the day Phillip Rivers gets in if he does. Some things about Antonio Gates. The Chargers put this out. I actually didn't know this until I saw it on social media. Only Pro Football Hall of Famer who did not play college football, because he played basketball at Kent State, and his Kent State basketball coach was there. Most career touchdown catches by a tight end. We all know that. 116 touchdown receptions. Phillip Rivers to Antonio Gates was one of the NFL's most productive duo of all time, connecting for 89 touchdowns. That's the most by any quarterback tight end combo in NFL history. Second most by any quarterback receiver duo, period. Only Manning and Harrison have more.
It doesn't seem like Gates gets a lot of love as all-time greats as a tight end. They always say Shannon Sharp, Tony Gonzalez, Gronkowski, Kelsey, but no one says anything about Gates.
He played in San Diego. Unfortunately, that's part of the curse, isn't it? He played buried down here. It's not fair. It's not right. It's just what it is. And I think him being a basketball player in college hurt him too. You get to know guys in college football, even more so than college basketball, because it is more popular. College football is one of the second biggest sports on the planet right now, behind the NFL. And so you get to know guys coming up, and we just didn't get to know Antonio Gates till he was in the pros, and he played different. He played like a basketball player. He would box dudes out. He played like he was trying to rebound. So it's different. And then the consistency with which he played, which is, I think, a big part of the reason Manny Machado one day is going to walk into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Antonio Gates from 2004 to 2014 averaged 9 touchdowns and 850 yards a season. That's unreal. You're talking about, what is that? 10 years? 10 years. 9 touchdowns, 850 yards. You know how many GMs would kill to have a guy on their team who was averaging almost 10 touchdowns and almost 1,000 yards? It's not even funny, man. He's incredible. Congratulations to Antonio Gates. Congratulations to his family. A pretty special moment on Saturday. We'll talk some NFL. We'll talk with Rich Ohrnberger about Antonio Gates coming up next. You're listening to San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. This is presented by Toyota of Carlsbad. Took 2 out of 3 against Cardinals. The 3 games National League West. They're going to start a 3-game series in Arizona today against the Diamondbacks. The men and women's NCAA basketball tournaments will not be expanding to 68 teams this season, but future growth remains on the radar. NCAA Senior Vice President of Basketball Dan Gavitt announcing that today. And Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders says he doesn't want his dad coming around Cleveland right now, as he doesn't want any distractions in his first year. And a good move for Shedeur Sanders and for the Browns' future, I do believe. Right now, Toyota Carlsbad makes it easy to get a new Toyota Camry, Tacoma, Tundra, and RAV4 gas models. Shop online today at toyotacarlsbad.com or in person at Toyota of Carlsbad. Relaxed and friendly for over 50 years. Visit Toyota Carlsbad today. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Big Marsh on the mic with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over coming up at 2 o'clock. Antonio Gates getting enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame was a pretty awesome moment on Saturday. And here to talk about it, the big fella himself, Rich Ohrnberger, teammate of Antonio Gates. What is going on, Rich? How you doing? I haven't seen you in a couple hours.
Yeah, it's been way too long. Things are good, and they're better now knowing that Antonio Gates is where he rightfully belongs in Canton, enshrined in the Hall of Fame with other greats. I thought that he was a first ballot the whole way. Obviously, they made him wait a year because of the performance-enhancing drugs test bust from years ago, which, look, I'm not going to explain away anything for anybody, but I will say, sometimes tests are wrong. Sometimes guys are misled. I don't think any of that cheapens the unbelievable success his career was. And you can't write the history of the NFL without Antonio Gates. So if they somehow got this wrong, it would have been a tragedy. But the fact that he was on stage giving shout outs to special players and coaches who played alongside of him and who coached him along the way was a really special moment, not just for me personally, having been a teammate of Antonio Gates, but also a lot of Chargers fans here in San Diego who followed his entire career and obviously were cheering him along just like I was.
It was around a 25-minute speech. I don't know about you, Rich, but I felt similarly as I felt during the Bill Belichick press conference when he was leaving the Patriots. I just kept waiting to hear your name.
Yeah, same. And I was reluctant at first with this opening soliloquy to go there, but I'm glad you broached the subject. I mean, do people say that was a perfect speech? No, they don't. And here's the reason why, because there was no mention of my name. And a lot of people were like really confused by that, myself included. And so had he gone there and just taken care of like one more thank you, then obviously it would have been a much better enshrinement. But hey, listen, the world's not perfect, Fletch. You can, yeah. So we cross our fingers and we just hope. And so he got one part wrong, but he got most of it right.
I do want to pick your brain about Caleb Williams as well as the disaster that is the Dallas Cowboys right now. But if you want to just give everybody a little insight into the locker room back in your Chargers days, what was Antonio Gates like as a person? What was his relationship with Phillip Rivers like? Do you have any fun stories that we haven't heard yet about Antonio Gates?
I could probably sum up Antonio in 3 words. Competitor, athlete, and leader. And when you have the mixture to the extent that you have with Antonio Gates of those 3 traits, you have the makings of a Hall of Fame player. He obviously needed to stay durable. And when your position relies on pass catching, as he sort of revolutionized alongside others, but he was one of the early trailblazers in making the tight end position, a quarterback's best friend in the passing game. But when you're a competitor like he is, you never were out of a football game as long as Antonio Gates was on the football field. In terms of being an athlete, I mean, he cut his teeth as a basketball player. I mean, football was kind of like the sport he played to stay in shape for his basketball career. And then it obviously became his main focus, and it obviously he elevated to the highest point in that sport. And then in terms of being a leader, you know, that kind of segues nicely into a story. I remember Antonio was quiet my entire time there. But one of the things that head coach Mike McCoy did during that time with the Chargers was, I can't remember if it was 2013 or 2014, but he decided to allow select veterans talk to the group before games. And I can't recite word for word what Antonio said to us the night before one of these football games, but he spoke to us, and there you could hear a pin drop in the room. Everybody hung on to every single word, and his delivery was so intense and so thoughtful and so emotional. If you thought that Hall of Fame speech was amazing, I mean, how about a guy who's hours away from taking the field with his brothers, delivering an impassioned speech about how important the game of football is to him and how excited he is after all the years he was playing at that point, because, you know, 2013, 2014, I mean, that's late in his career. He gave us this incredible talk. And then I can't give you too many details other than the fact that I remember going out and whooping the ever-living daylights out of whoever it was we were playing. I think it really fueled the entire room. It was an impressive moment. And so, yeah, Antonio was a special player, and I wish him and his family all the best things that life has to offer him, because that is the culmination of a lot of hard work and effort.
Like a better speech than Jameis Winston can give?
You know what? Jameis Winston's kind of undefeated, so I will never knock him off of the top of the podium, but close. Let's say second place.
We got Rich Ohrnberger joining us today here on San Diego Sports 760, as heard on The Herd with Colin Cowherd, as heard on 101.5 KGB every single morning alongside Travis Dale, Kat Fisher, and myself. We do a little show called Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it did win Best Morning Show in San Diego this year over on 101.5 KGB. Rich, you look around training camps, and I think we get video every year from some quarterbacks that we just kind of scratch our heads a little bit and say, is this real, or is this just training camp fodder for people to talk about? It does seem like there is a concerted effort from either people inside of Chicago or covering the team trying to make Caleb Williams look bad at football. And it's been happening all training camp long. And I'm curious your thoughts, if you've seen any of the clips that have gone viral at this point of Caleb Williams really struggling, and if you think there's anything to it, or you think he's going to maybe regress a little bit this year.
Look, it's possible for regression. It's also possible for great leaps in progression. I would say this to anybody who is watching training camp film or videos or social media clips with any sort of seriousness. Pump the brakes, relax a little bit, especially if we're talking about your favorite team, your favorite player, you know, your favorite whatever, you know, heck, your favorite potential draft pick in your fantasy football league. Whatever it is, pump the brakes and understand we're talking about practice. We're talking about training camp. We're talking about sometimes controlled scenarios where you really want see your player have success because you're setting them up for success. And sometimes you are intentionally putting them behind the eight ball and seeing how they work in a pressure test. And it doesn't matter if you're a rookie playing this game for the first time at the NFL level, or if you're a veteran of many, many years, you can have good practices and bad. And it doesn't matter. Now, it does if it leaches over into the regular season. It does if it ends up affecting your overall record as a starting quarterback for the regular season. Yeah, well, then you can maybe trace back some of those moments from training camp and say, was there any correlation here? Did something happen here? Did we notice regression here? And it's an important part of the process, but don't get too caught up at practice, because practice is just what I described earlier. It is a place for you to hammer out all of the hot irons and get them sharpened and ready for the long haul that is the regular season. So I'm not going to be on the bandwagon of people who think there's a real problem in Chicago brewing right now, but I will say this. Caleb Williams, a young quarterback. What do we know about young quarterbacks? They have a long route to becoming great quarterbacks typically. And I think Caleb Williams still has a lot of work to get to that level.
Rich, Dallas Cowboys seem to be a little bit of a disaster this season so far. Micah Parsons holding out, requesting a trade. Jerry Jones seeming to put his foot in his mouth 10 times before this season's going to begin. And the most recent one, he's called out Jay-Z and Dez Bryant as a reason why he doesn't like dealing with agents anymore. Well, obviously he's going to have to deal with agents with Micah Parsons. Now, Dez Bryant has responded to Jerry Jones. He put out a tweet earlier today, or an X post. Jerry Jones, I don't think it's smart for you to mention my name. I kept quiet about a lot of unfair S on some GS. We can have story time if that's what we're doing. Kind of big words from Dez Bryant talking about Jerry Jones. What do you think all this is?
Well, listen, I mean, the skeletons in the closet, if they're going to come pouring out, I mean, that door may swing both ways. So Dez better make sure his nose is completely clean before he goes to war with an owner who may have some intel that he doesn't want shared out there. Now, Dez, I would argue, is a little bit more of an open book than Jerry, but Jerry is the ringleader of a three-ring circus. And right now, I think Jerry Jones is doing something that a lot of people aren't aware of, but I'll fill you in. If you are not used to this by now, it means that you haven't been paying close enough attention to the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones is aware that the Cowboys are hurtling toward a pretty inept season. Right now, Vegas has the Cowboys winning 7.5 games. They just came off a season where they won less than 10. I believe they only won 7 games last year. The Dallas Cowboys are not predicted to be very competitive this year. So why is Jerry Jones, on top of all that, making such an issue out of Micah Parsons' contract? Because we know also Jerry Jones typically pays his players. Like typically, I mean, he did it with Zeke. He did it with Dez, for crying out loud, before, you know, the recent iteration of the Dallas Cowboys. He did it with, who else? Gosh, I'm blanking on his. Oh, CD. He just recently cracked off CD for a big contract. Like, so this is what Jerry Jones does. But he's also aware of the marketing aspect of keeping the Dallas Cowboys name in the news. And so with everybody distracted by the fact that Micah Parsons' contract isn't done yet, nobody's talking about how garbage the Cowboys are supposed to be, especially since you have a Super Bowl winner in your division. You have an up-and-comer like Jaden Daniels in your division with the Commanders, and they're expected to do special things this year. You have a team like the Giants, who everything you're hearing out of training camp is positive about the quarterback position after, you know, unshackling themselves from Daniel Jones. So the Dallas Cowboys could very well come in 4th place in the NFC East. And all the while, nobody's talking about that. Everybody's talking about, oh my God, this feud between Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is a marketing genius because he's got everybody looking over here instead of looking at the harsh reality of how bad this regular season could potentially be. And guess what? I think Micah still signs, and money talks. So all of the bad words and all the bad feelings will go away once that check is signed and he strokes one to Micah Parsons, and he's the pass rusher for the next 3 to 4 seasons in Dallas.
I kind of want Dez Bryant to say what he was talking about. I want to know what the skeletons are. I think it'd be fun. Big Marsh, I know you had a question for Big Rich. Oh my God, the big colliding with the big. What do we got?
Hey, what's up, OG Big Rich? So any thoughts on the Browns trying to tank to get Archie Manning? And if you think they are, you think the Grandpa Manning allows his grandson to go to the Cleveland Browns?
Okay, so I think this is the dumbest storyline coming out of training camp so far. And I'll explain to you why. So not only does the team never start a season essentially trying to lose every football game or as close. I mean, like, if we think about what secures you a top draft pick, it's like aiming to win, 3 games? I mean, 3 games usually gets you the top pick in the draft. So that means you're planning on losing 14 games to start the season. I mean, you're going to have a hard time convincing any head coach, any general manager to go along with that. So I think it's right out the gates. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then on top of it, think about the player you're trying to target. Eli Manning wasn't allowed to go to the San Diego Chargers. Okay. Eli Manning was instructed by his father, you're not playing for the San Diego Chargers. You're going to go to New York. And we've already talked to New York. They want you. So there's no question about it. Let the Chargers draft you. We will hold out until they trade you to New York. And that's exactly what happened. So do you think that Archie Manning is going to let his grandson Arch, if he ends up turning out to be a great player at Texas, leave for Cleveland, which has been a graveyard for quarterbacks over the past quarter century? The answer is absolutely not. He will do anything in his power, along with Peyton and Eli, to keep him away from Cleveland. So it's a terrible thought process in the first place, because no head coach or general manager would go for it. But beyond that, the Manning family won't let that happen. So this is a non-starter. All you Cleveland Brown fans out there listening to the sound of my voice, you can rest assured that they are not going to start tanking the season at the kickoff of the season.
It'd be funny though. All right, Big Rich, thank you for joining us, man. If you want to see what kind of shape Rich is in these days, go over to 101 KGB on Instagram. You can see him doing a plank challenge where it feels like he knocked out 3 minutes on a plank. Easy. I tried to do a minute this morning and my arms are killing me. My abs feel like they're on fire. But Rich, you're the best. Thank you, man. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
You got it, brother. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Rich Ohrnberger from 101.5 KGB. You can listen to us every single morning from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. over on 101.5 KGB. As mentioned, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Award-winning show, Marsh. How about that? Woo!
I love it.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up next, Sammy's out. Long shots are out. Marsh shots are in. Big Marsh is going to make a daily fantasy lineup for us all to make some money. Sammy's been in the dumpster recently, so maybe Marsh can bring some good luck. That's next on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. It's the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher with you today. Big Marsh also here today with Sammy Long out. And we all remember that one teacher who made a difference, who believed in us, who challenged us, or who just made learning fun. Now is your chance to say thank you in a big way with iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominate an outstanding public school teacher who has gone above and beyond for their students to win $5,000 to stock their classroom with whatever they need. Today's teacher of the day is Mrs. Jimenez, who teaches at Rosebank Elementary School, and who folks told us Mrs. Jimenez is the kind of teacher that every parent hopes for. She's warm, patient, and always going the extra mile to make her students feel good, safe, and excited to learn. Congrats, Mrs. Jimenez. You're in the running to win $5,000 for your classroom. Nominate your favorite teacher today at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. Big Marsh, you got a favorite teacher from your life?
Yes, the one that was the most hardest on me, Mr. Levin, Sunset View Elementary. He kept us on the straight and narrow. So shout out to Mr. Levin.
Always the ones that are the toughest, huh?
First one that came up to my mind, also Mrs. Griffin, my high school English teacher. She was one of my favorites as well.
I had a teacher in high school who, if we were acting up, which we were every single day, would literally send us on laps. And in Merced, it's 105 degrees during the summer sometimes, during like this time of year when you're going back to school. And doing laps out around the field was miserable. So shout out to all the teachers. My wife is a teacher. $5,000 would go a long way. She spends a ton of her own money every year getting her classroom ready. She's doing that right now as we speak, actually moving classrooms, getting ready for the school year. So teachers do a lot. They are overworked, man. I'd say they're underpaid and they could use this help. So iHeartRadio.com/teachers. All right, Big Marsh. Every single day we do a little something called long shots, and it's Sammy putting together a daily fantasy sports lineup. You know, with the amount he gambles, I would assume he'd be getting better at it. Last week was rough. The last couple of weeks have been rough. We're in a new month now. It's August. We're trying to kick things off the right way. Marsh, do you have a lineup ready for us? Then let's hit it. All right, we're going to get to long shots. Big Marsh filling in for Sammy today. Can't wait to hear what he's put together. We are going out to Vegas to Circa Hotel coming up on the 21st and 22nd of this month. Can't wait for that. We're going to be doing a couple shows from the sports book. Cannot wait to head out to Vegas and do a long shots live from Circa. That's going to be incredible. Marsh, where are we going today?
All right, sports fans. Hey, at least put 5 on these ones. So I got Carlos, and don't shoot the messenger. Carlos Correa back home with the Astros, more than 1.5 total bases. That's a red demon pick.
More than 1.5 total bases?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I have Nick Lodolo, more than 3.5 pitcher strikeouts.
I like it.
For the Reds, hot dog pick. And then I know they're the rivals, so we won't say, but the blue team up north, no disrespect, Tyler Glasnow, more than 5 pitcher strikeouts.
All right, you're going with a couple hot dogs
and a red demon.
I don't know if we could do that Tyler Glasnow one. Saying you can only use one promotion at a time, so 6.5 pitcher strikeouts you'll have to do for Tyler Glasnow, which I still feel pretty good about. Dude's back. He's going to be working hard to try to earn a spot. I like it. Look, it wasn't working with Sammy, so we're trusting Marshall. This is hashtag Faith in Marshall on a Monday. For long shots today, and I feel good about it. I'm submitted, dude.
5 on it.
I like it. Coming up in hour 2, I got a question for the text line that I want answered. San Diego Padres, of the new Padres, who is your favorite addition to the team after seeing most of them compete this past weekend? Freddie Furman, Sean O'Hara, Ramon Laureano, who hit the home run yesterday, Mason Miller, the dude throwing gas out of the bullpen. Who is your favorite new addition, Padres fans, to the team? Text us 70470. Start your message with team. Derek Togerson is going to be joining us in hour number 2. We'll talk Padres with him. We'll have him for 30 minutes, actually. Derek Togerson from NBC7. Can't wait to chat with him about all things San Diego sports. And we do have a pair of tickets for you today. A pair of tickets to go to the Australian Pink Floyd concert on August 17th at the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Amphitheater. Tickets and information at Ticketmaster.com. We're going to be giving away those tickets coming up in hour number 2. I had a lot of fun talking with Big Rich about Antonio Gates, who got enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame over the weekend. And that story you heard from Rich, where he talks about Gates coming into the locker room before a game and just delivering one of those big speeches that gets everybody ready to go, it's on brand, because everything I've heard from or about Antonio Gates is that he was an expert at picking his moments. It's like most part pretty shy, pretty quiet, pretty reserved. But when he knew the team needed something, he was the guy who would step up in the room and kind of give that speech where, you know, every once in a while, Philip Rivers' voice, it goes quiet, not quiet, but it goes dull. You're hearing the same thing over and over again. Sometimes you need to hear from someone new. And Antonio Gates was always that guy to step up. And I think you heard a little bit of that in his speech on Saturday, where expectations weren't super high for me. I'll be honest. Hall of Fame speeches I usually think are kind of dumb. But I thought Antonio Gates absolutely delivered on it. And I think part of it is because of his normal shy attitude, to where he gets out there in front of everybody and just delivers a killer 25 minutes. The whole thing's up on YouTube. You can go watch it there. Tons of San Diego ties, obviously. So it's cool. And it was cool seeing all those Charger fans out there. I know it's still a touchy subject here, but I know a couple people who went out to Canton for the enshrinement, and they said it was just an awesome, awesome day. What you got, Marsh?
I call them the San Diego Chargers of LA.
Yeah, that's it's tough. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I like that, actually.
What I don't like, though, when they did the supercharged uniforms.
Yeah.
San Diego Superchargers. That's iconic, man.
Yeah, it was iconic here. Don't do it
San Diego.
there.
Yeah.
That's the only mistake. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Hour number 2 is coming up next. Lots of Padres talk on the other side as they get ready for a 3-game set out in Arizona against the D-backs. We're going to chat with Derek Togerson from NBC7 about it. That's next on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. This update is presented by Audible. Padres took 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals this weekend to stay within 3 games of the Doyers in the National League West. Yesterday, Padres offense powering them to a 7-3 win with home runs from Jake Cronenworth and the new Padre, Ramon Laureano. Padres are going to start a 3-game series in Arizona tonight against the Diamondbacks. How about this? The men's and women's NCAA basketball tournaments will not be expanding beyond 68 teams this season. Future growth remains on the radar. NCAA Vice President of Basketball Dan Gavitt announced that earlier today. And Brown's rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders says he doesn't want his dad coming around Cleveland right now, his dad being Deion Sanders, of course, as he doesn't want any distractions in his first year, which I think is a very, very mature move for Shedeur Sanders. What a great sunny day to fall in love. Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you, including best-selling rom-coms and the steamy new romantasy series. Start your first great love story today for free with a 30-day trial at audible.com. It's hour 2. Let's get this thing going. Ben, Fletcher, Big Marsh on the mic with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over there. Coming up in about 10 to 15 minutes, Derek Togerson from NBC7 is going to be jumping on the show. We'll go 30 minutes with Togs today as we get ready for a Padres series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. A lot of this hour is going to be Padres because of what happened at the trade deadline, because of what happened over the weekend where, look, you saw the Padres offense really kick into another gear. I think they're putting up 6, 7, 8 runs in continuous games. That is a good thing to see if you're a Padres fan who obviously this year has been rough from the offensive point of view. But now, just like Jake Cronenworth said last night after the game, you're looking at a team that is really tough 1 through 9 to get out. I mean, Jake Cronenworth's going to be hitting in the 8 spot, it feels like, for the rest of the season. That's a pretty good lineup, considering Jake Cronenworth at the 8 spot hits a home run yesterday, helps out the Padres in a big way. So the Padres lineup, which was definitely had holes in it heading into the trade deadline, doesn't really feel like it does right now. And hopefully that continues all the way through to the end of the season. Plus, hopefully you're getting added bonuses from Fernando Tatis Jr. returning to form. Xander Bogaerts looking better than he has in a couple years. And Jackson Merrill, who looks like he's certainly on the right track too, hitting a ton of RBIs over the last couple of weeks. So things are positive in Padre land, which is good news. There was a while this season where it felt like it was teetering on the brink and they were starting to sleepwalk a little bit. Right now, it's looking like a Padres team that you're ready to root for all the way through the postseason. And I will say today is going to be an interesting one. Yesterday, we had Dylan Cease on the mound. We've kind of known what we're getting from Dylan Cease throughout the season so far. And yesterday, I thought was one of his better performances of the season. I thought it was a gritty one from Dylan Cease. Today, you got JP Sears going. His first start as a Padre came over from the Oakland Athletics in that Mason Miller trade. So what did Leo DeVry actually get you? Leo DeVry actually get you. We know what it is with Mason Miller, I think. He's a great arm. Throws gas out of the back of the bullpen. But what about the starting pitcher that came over? Well, we get our first look tonight. JP Sears is going to be on the mound for the Padres, taking on Brandon Pfaadt from the Diamondbacks. Curious to see his command. Curious to see how comfortable he looks in a Padres uniform out there on the mound, because, look, the Padres are going to be relying on JP Sears definitely in the postseason this year. The hope is that he becomes a staple of this organization here moving forward for the next couple of seasons. All that to be said, Michael King, who has been out since late May, early June. I'm not sure when he went down, but it's around there. Michael King made a rehab start over the weekend, and it didn't go well. 6 earned runs was the number I saw. I believe I'm right on that. I could be wrong. But Michael King, and what do you take out of a rehab start? Is it like spring training where guys are just working on their stuff? We don't really know the answer to that, but the hope is that Michael King is coming back to really round out this rotation, and the Padres are going to need him, just like the Padres are going to need JP Sears, just like the Padres are going to need Yu Darvish to kind of build momentum off that last start. Dylan Cease off this start. The Padres are going to need these guys if they want to get to where they get to, and we can talk all we want about how this trade deadline put them into a legitimate World Series conversation, and it did. But it only does if you hold up your end of the bargain. So we'll see how it goes tonight with JP Sears. I'm excited to watch him. I'm excited to see some new guys pitch for these San Diego Padres. It is hour number 2. Derek Togerson coming up in about 10 minutes from right now. We'll talk some Padres with Togs. But right now it's time for the big 3 of hour number 2. Big Marsh filling in for Sammy Long. Smash that button, Marsh. I didn't even shout this out in the first hour, but if you want to watch the show, you can. On
Time around, he needs to eliminate those kind of distractions.
I love this out of Shedeur Sanders. Look, I'm potentially this was the Browns PR telling him what to say. You always kind of got to put your filter on that. But first of all, Deion Sanders is kind of busy right now, getting ready for the college football season. I don't know how much he's going to be around anyways, even if Shedeur wanted him to be around. Secondly, this does show a little bit of maturity from Shedeur Sanders, and it's the right move. When you're in rookie training camp, I would imagine it's about the hardest thing you've ever had to do in your life, especially making that jump from college to the pros, especially making the jump not from Alabama or from Clemson, which are very much run like pro-style programs, but from Colorado, which is brand new to the pro-style program life. So Shedeur Sanders is literally stepping into something that his brain could not have even fathomed 6 months ago, and now he's there, and he's in the middle of it. And it reports are he looks pretty good out at Cleveland Browns training camp. So Shedeur Sanders to have this kind of awareness, if this was indeed him, I think it's an extremely positive sign for the Cleveland Browns. And my God, all the talk about them tanking potentially for Arch Manning, I think I agree with Rich Ohrnberger. It is total rubbish. It's BS. It's baloney. But if Shedeur Sanders works out, do we all realize what a steal the Cleveland Browns got in the draft? Can you imagine? Like, that is Brock Purdy equivalent. You're talking about Mr. Irrelevant with Brock Purdy now being the starting quarterback, getting $160 whatever $million contract. If Shedeur Sanders is good from 155 after everybody panned the pick, after every NFL team passed on him, there's going to be a lot of people eating crow. Maybe some people fired around football for not taking Shedeur Sanders.
Next one, our new look Padres took 2 or 3 from the Cardinals.
It was fun, man. I really enjoyed watching Padres baseball this weekend. There's a new vibe. Marshall, you touched on it, but the chemistry on the team felt like it clicked immediately. And it's fun to see this offense, which now feels like it's a high testosterone offense, which at times this season felt very, lack of a better term, flaccid. The Padres offense feels electric right now. And if they can continue that, there's no telling what this team can actually do, but fun is the word I take away from this weekend.
For the best burst of energy the team needed at the right time for the home stretch, getting ready for the postseason.
I would agree. You got one more?
One more. So the men's and women's NCAA basketball tournaments will not be expanding to 68 teams this season, but they're going to think about it for future growth going forward. Any thoughts?
This is the right move for right now. I'm one who does not want to see the field expand. 68 is a ton of teams. Like, we could just be very honest about that. If you can't get in the field of 68, you don't belong in a field of 72 or 76, whatever field you're talking about doing. This is the right move for college basketball. I hope they stay there. Now, TV networks and obviously CBS pays a ton of money every year to have the NCAA March Madness on their roster. They want more. That's what they do. They're always searching for something else that's going to get them good ratings. And right now in our world, news, live sports, that's what gets ratings. So CBS, of course, is saying, let's expand the field. And guess what? College basketball, at least the guys at the top who are in charge of making sure the books look right at the end of every singing, are like, yeah, you want to tack on some hundreds of thousands of dollars, some millions of dollars? Let's expand the field. It's going to hurt the product. More or less is more in this case. I'm a firm believer in that.
Is it that's why they have the NIT tournament for, right? If you don't make the dance, you're in NIT on ESPN.
And there's nothing wrong with being an NIT team. North Carolina has gone and won the NIT before. All right. You can be just fine with that. But if you're in the NIT, you probably don't belong that year in the NCAA tournament. It's special. It's prestigious. It should be a feat to get to the NCAA tournament. That should be something in and of yourself that you are proud of, because it showed that you were good enough during your regular season, during your non-conference schedule. You scheduled smart enough just to get into the NCAA tournament is a big deal, in my opinion. Expanding it cheapens that. I really think it does. It's the same conversation I feel like I have with the NFL regular season. We don't need more games. It's already hard to get into the NFL postseason. It's already hard to be an NFL team. And it's already good the way it is. Every single game feels like a playoff game. We don't need to add on to that. You're just going to cheapen the regular season, which is a huge problem in Major League Baseball and in the NBA. Their regular seasons, it's like, yeah, you lose a game. Who cares? It shouldn't be that way. Like 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals is a great series for the Padres. It shouldn't have to be that way. You shouldn't be okay with losses. In the NFL, you're not. And I think that's what really separates it at this point. All right, Derek Togerson's coming up in just a little bit. We'll talk a bunch of Padres with Togs on the text line. I want to know who your favorite new Padre is to watch. You got lots of options. I feel like there's an obvious one from the weekend. There was with Laureano hitting the home run. Can we hear that one more time, Big Marsh? That Laureano first home run in a Padres uniform. Don Orsillo on the call. The way things are supposed to be. Let's hear his first home run in a Padres uniform. Morahone tried to give up that lead, but he didn't, so it's okay. Padres walk out of there with a win. A good weekend for the Pods, who take 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals. Still just 3 games back. I'm telling you, the NL West is absolutely within reach with 6 or 7 games left against the Dodgers this year. You're going into another NL West opponent this week, but one that obviously got hurt by the trade deadline. Diamondbacks sold off a lot of pieces. See if the Padres can't take advantage of that with the first game coming up tonight. And JP Sears on the mound. I'm looking forward to seeing what he looks like. Looking forward to see what the Padres have in finding this new starter from the trade deadline. Take a quick break. On the other side, Togerson is here. We're going Padres for the next 30 minutes. You don't want to miss this deep dive on the new lineup coming up next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. If you haven't checked it out yet, download that free iHeartRadio app. You are going to need it. Add us to your presets, so we are right there at the top every single time, or just add the podcast to your presets too. Fletch Zone, search it in there. You can find it. Easy does it. And we got giveaways coming up next week on the Talkback mic, so make sure you have the free iHeartRadio app installed and you know how to use it. Right now, joining the show, and we get to see his face, Derek Togerson. What's going on, pal? How are you?
Fletch, what's going on, man? I see you got your hockey Stanley Cup playoff beard working already. I like it.
It's a good one. This is about the longest it's ever been, I think, in my entire life. My mom hates it. My wife loves it. I don't know exactly what to do right now. I feel like I'm torn between the two Mrs. Fletchers in my life. How do you feel about it?
The wife always wins. The wife.
Don't tell that to my mom.
You're going to be with your wife the rest of your life. You have to live with her every day. Your mom is going to be kind of floating in and out of your existence. You go, oh, the wife is always right.
Well, I appreciate you being here, Togs. I feel like over my lifetime, my most productive and conversational Padres conversations have actually been with you, because between Rich Ohrnberger and Travis Dale, there's always a boobs joke put in there somewhere. With Sammy Long, we end up fighting and going back and forth. You and I did like a full hour preseason on these Padres and our expectations for the season. One thing I know we did not cover is AJ Preller being an absolute madman at the trade deadline and going bonkers, more so than he has in his entire career, which is hard to say for a guy like AJ Preller, who it feels like he goes bonkers once every couple of years at the trade deadline. This was a fun one, though, man. I haven't gotten your reaction yet. What'd you think about it?
I honestly don't know if there's something else they could have done differently. I don't know what it is, because they every mark, check box they had on the to-do list, they checked every single one of them off. They needed a left fielder, they got a couple of them. They needed some bench depth, they got a lot of it. They needed some DH options, they got one of those. They needed some starting pitching, they definitely got a bevy of that, and all from the left side, which is nice. And by the way, they did all that and also improved on what was already the best bullpen in baseball. So I don't know if it's going to work. My inclination is yes, it's going to.
I think we dropped Togs, but I think what he was about to say next is that it's going to work awesome. Yeah, he's just buffering out on the screen right now. Maybe we'll get Togs on the phone if this doesn't work out, but hopefully it does. Feels like it's his internet connection, not mine. But I agree with him, man. You look at what AJ Preller did at the trade deadline, and it is crazy. And if there was something else out there, I don't know what the hell it was. I'm moving Dylan Cease and getting a bunch of prospects back. That's probably the only other option. But you watched Dylan Cease yesterday, and he was awesome. That's exactly what the Padres need out of Dylan Cease. So now maybe it's a good thing that he didn't move over and trade. And even though, yeah, you lost a bunch of prospects over the last few days, it feels like you're okay with it as of right now. While we try to get Togerson back, Big Marsh, what do you got?
Well, about the prospects, we wanted to save them for down the road, but say we don't trade the prospects, don't make any moves, everyone's not happy. And then 2 years later, hey, look, we kept our prospects from 2 years ago. Like, we play like Herm Edwards said, you play to win the game.
All right, I think we got Togs back. You here? You live?
Yeah, oh boy, internet in the East County is wonderful, isn't it?
It really is. And we got this heat wave coming. I don't know, Derek, I don't know if you know this. I just moved out to La Mesa, so I'm kind of joining you in almost East County. But you were saying that
the gateway to the East County. La Mesa is like St. Louis for the country, like the gateway city. Like La Mesa is like the gateway to East County.
Right. You were saying that if there was anything else Preller could have done, you don't know what it possibly could have been.
Yeah, they checked every box they needed to check, right? And they also added to the one biggest strength in all of Major League Baseball by adding a guy who throws 104 miles an hour. So I don't know if it's going to work. On paper, it looks like it's a fantastic team. They certainly don't have nearly as many holes as they did before. So somebody's talking to me in the press box yesterday at the game. Did AJ, get his extension or save his job with this, even if it doesn't turn into a World Series appearance? And I said, I would hope so, because literally I don't understand what else could have possibly been pulled off with this. I really don't.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with a few different people, and everyone seems to have a different angle on it. I would say the morning when I woke up and I was doing the show over on KGB and saw the news that Leo DeVries has been moved in exchange for Mason Miller and JP Sears, who's going to be pitching for the Padres tonight, my first inclination was, oh, damn, AJ's going all in because he thinks he's not going to get a contract after this year if he doesn't go all in. And then as the day progressed, I was like, no, I think this is ownership committing to AJ Preller and telling him, yeah, you know what, go ahead. This is your ball club. If you want to go balls to the wall right now, go for it. And we got faith in you to make it done. Where do you come out on that, Derek? Because I think a lot of people think this was AJ going all in to try to win a World Series so he doesn't get fired after the end of this year.
AJ could be on a 1-year contract every single year of his life. AJ could also have a lifetime contract where he knows he's never going to get fired. He would never deviate from how he approaches the trade deadline. This is just who he is. This is how he's wired. AJ is a guy who has enough confidence in himself to know that, listen, if I'm not here, I'm going to be somewhere else, right? I've got a track record. Someone's going to bring me on. I know baseball. I know talent evaluation. He's going to be working in the game in some capacity. The whole he's trying to save his job thing, I think that's completely irrelevant to him. And I guarantee you something he never thinks about. This is how he's wired. This is how he's built. This is how he's always going to approach it, because AJ is very keenly aware as well. Chris Kemp and the entire scouting department and Eric Group, everybody's tied to his performance. So he's not going to look at it internally and selfishly try and do something differently. This is what he does. This is how he's always been. This is AJ, regardless of his contract situation. So I don't buy that for a second.
Now, Mason Miller was the big headline coming over in that trade from the Oakland, Las Vegas, Sacramento Athletics, but JP Sears, another piece from the A's. And what do you think the Padres are expecting from him as he takes the mound tonight?
Okay, for Padres fans, it's not an exact 1-to-1 ratio, an exact comp, but think of it kind of like Randy Jones, right? This is a guy who's a left-handed pitcher, not the biggest dude in the world, doesn't throw the hardest in the world, but he finds ways to get outs. And I will take a dude like that on my team any day of the week and twice on Sunday, right? He's about to hit arbitration for the first time, so he's got 3 years of team control. This is a dude who, I mean, he went to the Citadel. He's only the 10th person ever from the Citadel to make the major leagues. The guy has been kind of fighting uphill his entire career, his entire baseball career, professional life, and even college life. So that's a guy who's hungry, who knows how to pitch, and really understands himself as a pitcher. But I will tell you this, if Dylan Cease pitched the same way that JP Sears pitches, he would throw a no-hitter every time he steps on the mound, because this guy understands how to attack hitters and how to simply get guys out. Love the approach, love the moxie. Padres fans are going to love this guy. I know, by the way, his ERA was inflated. He had like a damn near 6 ERA in Sacramento. That's a launching pad over the summer. Put him down here at Petco Park, instant tick up in numbers. Padres, you're going to love this guy.
All right, and how about Fermin? Because I really liked what I saw yesterday, him catching Dylan Cease. I thought he did an excellent job. We've seen him have some success as a hitter so far with the Padres, laying down bunts, kind of doing whatever is needed for the team. And I like the pickup. I really do. It was a head scratcher at first just because of what they were giving up to get him with the two pitchers who have done good innings in Berger and Kolek. But Fermin, you like the move?
I like the move a lot. I like the move a really lot, because he's a guy who, I mean, he would have been the everyday catcher in Kansas City, except there's that future first ballot Hall of Famer in Salvador Perez sitting there. In fact, it was Fermin's emergence who allowed them to give Salvi as many DH days as he got, because they had to get this guy out there. Tremendous behind the plate. I'll give you one example that tells you just how good this guy is with handling a pitching staff. Talk to Jeremiah Estrada. On Saturday night, Fermin caught Estrada the first time, and Jeremiah didn't shake him off. Through the pitch column, the pitchers can kind of call their own games nowadays, right? So he had to kind of show him what he was doing the first time. The next day, he went out there and got Estrada again. Jeremiah told me he didn't have to shake him once. Like, Fermin was already in his head, thinking along with him, working with him for literally 1 inning of a game. And he already had the guy figured out and understood what the guy wanted to do to attack hitters. And by the way, Jeremiah struck out the side in his inning on Sunday. So that's how quickly Fermin assimilates and is able to handle a pitching staff. Gets really good grades for blocking, really good grades for framing. He's anything he gives you with the bat, obviously. He's got an OPS of 100 points higher than either Elias Diaz or Martin Maldonado. So obviously an instant upgrade offensively, but the way this guy handles a pitching staff, everyone loves throwing to him. You're, again, I'm the guy who was kind of one of those under the radar kind of things. In fact, AJ Preller told me when I asked him the question on the trade deadline, like, what'd you see in this Fermin guy? And why'd you give up, a couple of promising young starting pitchers to get a guy who's been a backup catcher? He's like, every time we watched him, we said, who's that catcher back there impacting the game from both sides? Like, well, who is this dude? So we went out and grabbed that dude. And yes, it was probably a bit of an overpay, especially with Berger, who showed some really high upside. But that's what you have to do. Catching, especially effective catching, who can give you help at the plate and behind it. It's really hard to come by. You have to slightly overpay to get that. So I'm okay with doing that to get a guy who's going to help you. Again, he gets arbitration eligibility for the first time next year. He's going to be here for a long time. And also, by the way, the nice bridge to Ethan Salas.
Yeah, and it's already paying dividends. Like we said, Dylan Cease looked better yesterday than he has in a while. Maybe some of that's to do with who was catching behind the plate. All right, text line weighing in, 619 says Mason Miller is my favorite new Padre without a doubt. Miller time is a pretty cool vibe down at Petco Park. I'll be honest. 619. I like Laureano as my new favorite Padre with the Furminator as a close second. Both are big time pickups for the Pods. Laureano is a clear favorite early on with the home run that he yesterday. And it seems like he's been on base his entire time as a Padre. 619 also saying, come on, Togerson, pay your internet bill. Yeah, Togerson.
Yeah, I pay. Here's the problem out here. There's only one internet provider, so I can't like try and find somebody else to do it. It's one of those kind of zones where like you're at the mercy of the people who are providing it. As soon as there's somebody else, yes, I will certainly be grabbing someone else.
Well, when there's only one, they always seem to jack up the prices on you. All right, quick break.
They don't care about maintenance because there's no competition.
Right. Togerson's going to hang out. You're good to hang out for one more segment, yeah?
Oh, absolutely.
Perfect. He was just out doing some stuff with SDFC, so I want to get into that as well. But it's San Diego Sports 760. Quick break. Back with more Togerson coming up next at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. This update is presented by the Jim Buttrell Real Estate Team. Those Padres over the weekend, the new look pods took 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals, staying within 3 games of the Dodgers in the NL West yesterday. Padres offense powering them to a 7-3 win. Homers from Jake Cronenworth, the new Padre Ramon Laureano. Padres are going to start a 3-game series out in Arizona tonight against the Diamondbacks. The men and women's NCAA basketball tournaments will not be expanding beyond 68 teams this season. That is per NCAA Vice President Dan Gavitt announcing earlier today. And Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders saying he does not want his dad, Deion Sanders, coming around Cleveland right now, as he doesn't want any distractions in his first year. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Buttrell has the buyers. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Big Marsh on the mic, filling in for Sammy today. Love having you here, Big Marsh. Thank you for doing it, man.
Always a pleasure, brother.
It's San Diego Sports 760. We do have Derek Togerson from NBC7 on StreamYard today. You can find us there on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760 or on X at Fletch and Sammy. Go ahead and take a look. Togs, I just read that story about the NCAA deciding not to expand the field. I agree with that decision wholeheartedly. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, it's a good thing right now. I mean, what are we doing? Some more Tuesday games. You can expand it. Where's at this point? Where's the end? You know, I know it's great for the programs to say that you're an NCAA tournament team, but it's 68. We can argue if you expand it to 74, we'll argue about what the 75th team should have been. There's always going to be an argument about who's in and who's out. Keep it right here. Move along. It works fine.
And it should be special to get into the NCAA tournament. Yeah. And the more teams you allow starting to get in, it's like the line from The Incredibles. If everyone's super, no one is. And so I think I agree with you. 68 teams feels like it's right. I could even do a 64. I'd be fine if we got rid of those first 4 games. Togs, this Padres team, pretty fun, man, with all the new faces around. We didn't talk about the 2 guys over from the Orioles. I know those were the 2 flashy offensive pieces added. Laureano certainly already looking like a superstar with the San Diego Padres. But what do you think about those 2 guys, O'Hearn and Laureano, and their impact on this team for the rest of the season?
O'Hearn gives you a guy who's basically like the Gavin Sheets type, who's going to be able to give you some slug, can play a little bit of left field, can play a little first base, can play a little DH, good clubhouse guy, having a career year this year after he tweaked some stuff in the offseason with his swing. So I like it. Laureano, I mean, you know how good he is defensively. Anything he gives you with the bat right now is probably going to be a little bit of a bonus. And by the way, he set career highs for a single season in home runs and runs batted in before the trade deadline. So he is having by far and away the best offensive season of his career as well. So if they can give you anything close to the production they were giving you in Baltimore, and again, you got park factors. I mean, Camden Yards is a much easier place to hit than Petco Park is. But give you anything resembling that kind of production, it's going to be very nice for this team moving down the stretch, especially just because now you got a legitimate lefty. The one throw that Laureano made into second base, you know the one I'm talking about? Where he gets the ball off the left field wall, turned around, one hop, and then throws a dart to Jake Cronenworth. I think the runner at second base looked up there like, where the hell did that come from? Where did that ball really get here that quickly? When you see his arm strength, you all are going to be like, that's like maybe as good as Tatis and Wright you now have in left field. So that's
what I was just going to say. You got cannons on the corners.
Right? Because it's defensively now their outfield is a whole heck of a lot more effective at run prevention as well. And that's only something that people don't really talk about because look at the RBI total and all that stuff. Run prevention is a big deal. Laureano is really, really good at that.
Yeah, the corner outfielders with 2 absolute cannons with Fernando and now Laureano, or depending on who's playing in left. And then Jackson Merrill, who is totally transformed from everything he was in the minors. Starting in center field last year, he's the epitome of a Gold Glover, in my opinion. The dude is an absolute wall out there. It's been pretty cool to see. The only guy we didn't talk about, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is Mason Miller. Miller time at Petco Park, baby. We all know about the flashy fastball. We all know about the controllable years. What do you see from Mason Miller and his future with the San Diego Padres?
I see a really good slider. I mean, the fastball, when you see, 102, 103 flash on the scoreboard, everyone goes, woo! And believe me, a high-octane fastball is something to behold in person. I mean, you can literally hear it cooking the air as it makes its way to home plate. It is so fun to watch. His best pitch might be the slider. It's just that good of an offering. And they call it a secondary pitch. It might be actually his out pitch, which is a stupid thing to think about. What I see in his future is they're probably at least next year going to try and do the same thing they did with Michael King and Seth Lugo and make him a starter again. Remember, in the minor leagues with the A's, he was a starter. His first year in 2023, he was a starter. In fact, in his second or third big league start, he threw 7 no-hit innings and then had to come out because of a pitch count thing. So I think they're going to try and stretch him back out. Now, he did have a bit of a UCL issue, and that's why they shut him down for 3-4 months that first year, and they brought him back, and they put him in the bullpen. They realized, oh, my God, this guy's throwing 104 miles an hour. Now we have to leave him back there because he's such a fantastic ninth-inning weapon, and just kind of been there ever since. But he was a starter his entire life. So I think they're going to really give him a chance. Think of it like the Garrett Crochet thing, where he was, a starter. They put him in the bullpen, had some arm issues, and then they stretch him out for the White Sox. He throws 120 or so innings one year. And then this year with Boston, he's been completely unleashed, and he's been every bit as good as everyone hoped he would be. Think of it like that, the same kind of production and progression for Mason Miller. I think that's what they have in the future for him. And if telling you what, man, he doesn't have to, somebody saying, well, yeah, guys who are big guys who throw really hard, they tend to break down. Nolan Ryan didn't do that. Justin Verlander didn't do that. Dylan Cease doesn't do that. You got a lot of dudes who throw hard who don't necessarily have to break down if they're, just throwing that kind of easy gas. So I think he's going to be a starter next year. And if that dude is your second or third starting pitcher, you're going to be really, really dangerous. And that rotation next year all of a sudden has some serious length to it. Love the kid. Love his backstory. Went to Division III school for 4 years before transferring to Gardner-Webb because people were scared that he had diabetes and he wasn't going to be able to hold up. It's like he's overcome so many things in his career to now be an absolute monster on the mound. Love everything about the kid.
Derek Togerson, NBC7, joining us today. I do want to get to SDFC with you, but real quick, I talked to Danny Vietti with CBS Sports last week, who covers Major League Baseball for them. And he said the division is absolutely in play for the Padres. I agree with him. 3 games back of the Dodgers right now. You have the firepower in the lineup. Jake Cronenworth said it last night, 1 through 9. We are a really tough lineup. The Padres are. Like, this is about as high as I've been on the Padres over the last 4 or 5 years, Derek. With this roster that they have right now, the rotation, the potential that it has, what's the ceiling for this team?
The ceiling for this team is to win World Series. That's the legitimate ceiling for this team.
Regular season ceiling. My bad.
Oh, the regular. I have been very adamant and staunch on this for a long time. And Darnay, my partner on the On Fire podcast, which we record every Thursday, by the way, quick plug. He has been kind of on me for. I always say you're not going to catch the Dodgers in the division because over 162 games, they have too much talent. They throw too much money at things. You're not going to get them. You have to get them in the postseason. They're infinitely gettable in a series, but over 162 games, they have too much talent. This is the first time that I'm looking at this going, you know what? Given all the injuries the Dodgers have had and some guys not playing up to their potential, this is the first time I've legitimately thought the Padres can win the National League West. And I'm not predicting it, but before I was like, it's not going to happen. Get it out of your mind. Get them in the playoffs. And even last year when they had the triple play, and I was at Dodger Stadium for that, the triple play to end the game and clinch the playoff spot. And they were like 2-3 games out of first place at that point. People saying, yeah, they're going to win. No, even then I was like, they're not going to win the division. Don't worry about it. Go get somebody in the wild card. This is the first time, Fletch, I legitimately believe they have a realistic chance to win the National League West.
Well, it's weird because even right now, as you and I are talking, I feel like it's more likely for them to actually win the World Series than it is for them to win the National League West.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Look, it's baseball. It's easier these days to just get into the postseason and make noise once you're there. But it is strange that we always feel that way about the Dodgers. Big Marsh, what you got?
It's a possibility we could have SDFC win the MLS and the Padres win the World Series.
I think it's more than a possibility, man.
How about the Wave winning the National Women's Soccer League championship? They just moved into second place.
Let's make it a 3 for 3.
City of Champions.
City of Champions. Say that again, Derek.
How about this one?
San Diego will be the City of Champions.
Brian Dutcher
run the bed every time something comes up.
Brian Dutcher heading into a season where he maybe has the deepest bench he's had since 2020.
Love it.
2020, or when they went to the national championship game. What was that? 22?
22, yes.
Yeah.
It's
23.
He's got some horses.
He does.
Yeah, 22,
All right,
22. Yeah, you're right.
Let's talk some SDFC because they're in the middle of the Leagues Cup right now. They got another match tomorrow. You're going to hear it here on San Diego Sports 760. It's been tough going so far. What have you seen?
I've seen a team that missed Anders Dreyer in a bad way after he got that, I guess, not too terribly questionable red card. You can't make it look like you're intentionally trying to trip somebody. That's going to get you carded pretty much every time. And very out of character for him. He doesn't show frustration very often. What I see, though, is a club that is very much focused on still development. And they know MLS Cup has been their goal all year. MLS is their focus all year. MLS is certainly their priority for the year. I mean, Chucky, they have not been pushing him with his hamstring during this tournaments really at all. They gave him about 70 or so minutes against Pachuca, his former club. That meant something to him. He only played with 30 or so in the last match against Tigres. So this is a club that has kind of, I don't want to say written off Leagues Cup, because obviously every time you step out, you want to win. But I asked Mikey Varas about that just a few minutes ago, actually. I said, what are you going to do with this last match? You're not going to advance, already being 0-2. So how do you approach this? He says, well, obviously you want to win, but this is also, given the reality of the situation we're in, get some young guys out there. And what we've seen, Fletch, with this club is they got a lot of teenagers who are playing extremely well. They got a very young back line. So they're not just kind of treading on veterans as we thought that an expansion team might do. They've got a lot of youngsters out there, and it shows how good this organization is at developing talents quickly. So that's really, you look at what they can do this year, of course, still being in first place in the Western Conference, but building for the future. This club, and Mikey said it many times, this club is going to be a giant. I think he might be on to something. They have the potential to be really good this year, and then moving forward in years after this, are really laid a great foundation. So I like what I see from these guys a lot. And Leagues Cup, let's be honest, is it fun? Yeah. Does it get you into the CONCACAF tournament where you can then get into the FIFA Club World Cup? Yeah. That's not their focus, nor should it be right now. Their focus should be the Major League Soccer regular season and deal with this other stuff later on. You have more of a foundation built.
And they play a fun brand of soccer. I really think it's very attacking. It's fast. Everything is all about speed, quickness, moving the ball down the field. I've really enjoyed getting to know soccer through the eyes of SDFC. I've had a lot of fun with that. Togs, what do you got coming up on NBC?
Oh, I got something on, let me see, well, SDFC, of course, going to do that at 6 o'clock. Also, a little thing on Jeremiah Estrada. At 4:30, we're going to talk to him about where his velocity comes from, because he's a dude. There are two guys who have thrown 100 miles an hour in Major League Baseball this year who are not at least 6 feet tall and weigh at least 200 pounds. One's Jeremiah Estrada, one's David Morgan. Two guys in the Padres. And I asked Estrada where the velocity comes from, and it's very interesting. He says it's from his girlfriend's cooking. So, and
what?
Yeah,
marry
exactly.
her, dude.
Because apparently, to throw gas, you have to get on the mound and actually have gas. His line, not mine. So it's a little tongue in cheek, but I mean, Jeremiah's a really fun dude to talk to. He's got a great personality. But it's kind of a fun little tongue in cheek thing on him. He's a guy who is not the biggest dude, who generates insane velocity. And where that actually comes from is a little bit up for debate, but he tells a story of the tale of the 100-mile-an-hour fastball from a quote-unquote little dude.
I love it. Can't wait to see it. Togs, we're only a few weeks away here from talking Aztecs football on a regular basis. Hope you keep that StreamYard account active and you're ready to jump on some more, because we got a busy few months here in San Diego. Appreciate you jumping on today, man.
Love you, man. We'll talk to you guys later.
Sounds good. Derek Togerson, NBC7, always willing to jump in a pinch. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We're going to take our final break of the day. When we come back, we're going to get you ready for John and Jim. We're also going to tell you how you're going to win some tickets coming up on the show tomorrow at San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760 coming up tomorrow. We're going to have a pair of tickets for you to go see Australian Pink Floyd on August 17th at the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Amphitheater. Tickets and info on that one, please visit Ticketmaster.com. We'll be giving those away tomorrow at 12:30, so don't go anywhere. You're going to want to get those tickets. I believe John and Jim will have a pair this afternoon as well. 619, Padres are at home, Fletch. They're not in Arizona. And then 619 responded, said, my bad, you're right. I assume they were home since I have tickets to this Friday's game. That's a quick road trip. Yes, the Padres will be in Arizona out later tonight. JP Sears, your first chance to get eyes on him. I'm excited for that. Excited to see what the Padres have gotten in him. Like Togerson said, like he has potential to be really, really special. And he's been playing in an absolute tinderbox up in Sacramento this year. So maybe that ERA is a little overinflated. It's all been positive for the Padres over the last few days. Hopefully that continues on tonight. 615 calling me out. Fletch, I can't help but notice every time Derek Togerson hangs up with you guys, he says, I love you, and you never say it back. It's like a complete role reversal from Kevin Acee. I love Togerson. I love Acee. I love Big Rich Ohrnberger. I love Marshall on the mic. I love you, 615. Lots of love floating around San Diego these days. Appreciate you listening, 615. Really, really do. Before we get out of here, I did want to play a little bit of Antonio Gates one more time. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame on Saturday, and thinking about it this morning, thinking about what I was going to say about it, it does make me a little sad that it wasn't when the Chargers were still in San Diego, because I would imagine Antonio Gates Hall of Fame induction, if things were the way they were, would have been an entire week full of radio shows, would have been interviewing every single person we could get our hands on who had a little part of Antonio Gates' career as a Charger. And that's not the world we live in right now. That's unfortunate. Dean Spanos made sure to just rip that out of San Diego. It ruined a lot of things. But I thought this was a cool moment on Saturday that San Diego got to enjoy if you were tuned in for it. And Antonio Gates, when he was talking about Phillip Rivers, you talk about like the moment Tony Gwynn got the phone call, how we've all seen that video a million times. I think we're all going to see this video a million times as well. Antonio Gates, Phillip Rivers, two San Diego legends. Antonio Gates on stage, Phillip Rivers in the crowd. Let's take a listen. I really did love watching him play football, man. Antonio Gates was one of a kind. Bill Belichick once said about Antonio Gates, it's like trying to cover a power forward with a cornerback. And that's what he was. He kind of played football like a basketball player. And he played through tons of injuries, especially towards the end of his career. He dealt with plantar fasciitis. I've heard some of his former teammates talk about the injury that he had, where quite literally the muscle was coming off the bone in his foot. And he had tons of issues with his big toe. Played through a lot of it and played well through a lot of it. That's how you get to the point where you are setting all-time NFL records. It's you and your quarterback are going to have to play through a lot of injuries because everyone gets hurt out on an NFL field. Today was a ton of fun on the show. Got to recap the first weekend with the new look Padres. That was a blast. Big Marsh, it was great doing it with you. Thank you, pal, for being here.
Always a pleasure, brother. Thank you.
And you're going to be back on Wednesday. Sammy will be back on Thursday. Tomorrow, we're going to have something special cooked up for you with Mike Usher running the board on tomorrow's show. It's going to be a fun one. John and Jim are coming up next. They got tons of good stuff coming up, including a giveaway, including lots and lots of Padres talk. So stay tuned to San Diego Sports 760. I'll be back with you tomorrow at noon o'clock sharp. And of course, over on 101.5 KGB tomorrow morning with Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. We'll get going at 6. So don't go anywhere. Enjoy John and Jim, and I'll see you tomorrow, people.